Welcome to NextVida. Today we're looking into a really fascinating book, one that tells a story you might not expect. It's Nathaniel Popper's Digital Gold.
Right. And it's definitely not your typical dry finance or tech book.
No, not at all. Popper, he makes it read almost like a movie script,
Yeah.
all about the early Bitcoin rebels, the dreamers, even the millionaires that emerged.
hmm
And our mission today is really to unpack those stories, the human drama behind what turned into this, well, global thing. We want to break it down, make it simple and memorable for you.
Yeah, and that's so important because we often get caught up in the technology itself, the blockchain, the code.
Right.
But what Popper shows, and what's often true, is that the real story, the compelling part, it's always in the people, their reasons why, their struggles.
hmm
That's what gives the tech meaning.
Absolutely. Understanding that human side seems key.
It really is. It helps you grasp the real scope of these kinds of shifts.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit more. Digital gold. It's about the people.
Yeah.
Who are we talking about here? What kind of journeys does Popper actually follow?
Well, it's quite a mix, actually. Popper paints this picture of a really diverse group. You've got journalists trying to figure this whole thing out, hackers, entrepreneurs taking big swings, and yeah, like you said, even folks who maybe felt like misfits, who saw Bitcoin as a chance to kind of change the game.
Right. Any specific examples that stand out from the book?
Oh, definitely. Popper introduces us to people like Hal Finney, a real legend in cryptography circles. He actually received the very first Bitcoin transaction from Satoshi Nakamoto.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, his story's quite moving, actually, a true believer, but he faced some serious health issues later on. Then there's Laszlo Hanyecz.
Ah, the pizza guy.
Exactly, the famous 10,000 Bitcoin pizza order. Seems kind of funny now, but back then, that was huge. It was the first time Bitcoin was really used for, well, something tangible. Shows how little value people put on it initially.
Hard to imagine now.
Totally. And Popper also gets into the story of Charlie Shrem. Young guy, founded BitInstant, one of the first big exchanges. His journey is a real roller coaster.
Yeah.
Shows the wildness of those early days.
You mean the lack of rules, the risks?
Yeah, the rapid growth, the sudden crashes, and the immense pressure from regulators. These people were operating in totally new territory and sometimes faced really serious personal consequences. It wasn't abstract. It was their lives, their money on the line.
It really sounds like that Wild West analogy fits perfectly. Fortunes made and lost, navigating this completely new landscape. So Popper captures that whole arc, from this tiny niche experiment to something bigger.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It shows how these early believers, they genuinely saw themselves as building a new world order, you could say.
Driven by an idea.
A big one.
Hmm.
Decentralized finance. Freedom from central banks, from the usual institutions. That was the fuel. It wasn't just about getting rich, not at first anyway. It was ideological for many.
And how did that play out? What were the milestones?
Well, Popper covers the rise and dramatic fall of exchanges like Mt. Gox. For a while, that was the place for Bitcoin, handling most transactions. Its collapse was huge.
I remember that.
And he doesn't shy away from the darker side either, like the Silk Road Marketplace, how Bitcoin got used there. Yeah. That brought a lot of negative attention, obviously,
Right.
but also highlighted the massive challenges of this new unregulated currency. All these events, these people, they pushed Bitcoin from this underground thing into something the whole world had to start paying attention to.
That's a great overview. It's clear these are human stories, first and foremost. So for someone listening, maybe someone who already knows a bit about crypto, what makes this book, Digital Gold, really stand out? Why pick this one up?
I think its biggest strength is that it's so incredibly story-driven. Like you said earlier, it genuinely reads more like a thriller than a textbook.
Keeps you hooked.
Totally. You get invested in these characters, their successes, their failures. It really focuses on the human side of Bitcoin, the people, their hopes, their mistakes, not just the algorithms.
That sounds much more engaging than just tech specs.
Exactly. And another thing is, Popper offers a pretty balanced view. He shows the excitement, the huge potential people saw.
The hype.
Yeah, the hype, but also the very real risks. The scams, the hacks that cost people everything, the government crackdowns. It's not all rosy.
And that balance is important for understanding the whole picture.
Crucial. It helps you, the listener, contextualize it all. Bitcoin stops being this abstract thing and becomes this movement driven by actual humans with all their flaws and brilliance.
Makes sense.
And even though it was written back in 2015, a lifetime ago in crypto years.
Right. Things move so fast.
They do. But the core lessons about disruption, about risk-taking, about what drives people to build something completely new, those still feel incredibly relevant today. It has this kind of timeless appeal in that sense.
Okay, that's a strong case for it. But, like any resource, it can't cover everything. For our NextVida community, always looking for the full picture, what are the limitations? What should you know digital gold isn't?
That's a really important point. You need to know what you're getting. And this book, it's not a step-by-step crypto guide.
So no investment advice.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
If you're looking for tips on which coin to buy or how to set up a wallet today, this isn't the place. It's history, it's narrative, not a practical manual for the current market.
Okay.
And related to that, because it's so story-focused, which is great. Sometimes, if you just want the quick facts, the bullet points,
You might find it a bit slow.
potentially, yeah. Some stories might feel a bit stretched if you're purely after data. Popper really likes to immerse you in the moment, the personal journey.
And the time gap is a factor, too. You mentioned 2015.
Exactly. That's probably the biggest thing. The crypto world has exploded since then.
Yeah.
So, obviously, the book doesn't cover newer crypto trends. Think DeFi, NFTs. None of that existed in the way it does now when Popper was writing.
Right. Decentralized finance and non-fungible tokens. Big topics now.
Huge. So you need to understand, this book gives you the absolutely critical, foundational human story of Bitcoin's origins. The why and the who behind it all, but not the latest tech or market stuff from the last, 9 years or so.
That framing is helpful. Know what you're getting. The origin story, the human drama.
Precisely.
So putting it all together, strengths, limitations, what's the bottom line for someone listening? Who should really consider digging into digital gold?
Well, if you want to understand Bitcoin not just as digital cash or a cool piece of tech, but as a genuine movement, something led by really bold, sometimes controversial risk takers, then yeah, this book is fantastic.
It captures that spirit.
It really does. People describe it as inspirational, educational, entertaining, all rolled into one. That's pretty rare.
True.
I'd say it's kind of perfect for young dreamers, entrepreneurs starting out, or honestly, just anyone who's curious about how big changes, how revolutions actually start.
Not just tech revolutions, but any kind.
Yeah, I think so, because it's fundamentally a story about vision, about courage, about making these huge, risky bets that ended up shaping the crypto world we see today.
So the relevance goes beyond just Bitcoin itself.
Absolutely. It's about understanding where disruption comes from, what kind of people drive it, how does an idea catch fire and become a movement. It really makes you think, doesn't it, about the power of just one person's vision or a small group's to spark something massive.
It definitely does. Okay, so to wrap up our NextVida exploration today, should you read Digital Gold by Nathaniel Popper? Our take is absolutely yes, especially if you want to get inspired by the actual people, the human stories that took Bitcoin from this obscure idea to something known worldwide.
It's dramatic, insightful, really a must-read for understanding crypto's roots.
Yeah, it's not just about the code, it's about the courage and the chaos of innovation.
And maybe it leaves you with a question to think about. In this world where tech changes everything so fast, how much of that change really comes down to individuals, to their bold choices, their visions, like the people in Bitcoin's early days?
That's a great point. What other movements might be starting right now, quietly, driven by similar kinds of people?
Exactly. Something to ponder.
That was our look at Digital Gold by Nathaniel Popper, right here on NextVida.